everybody. Welcome back to another video. I'm gonna do something a little different this time around. I'm just coming back from work, and it gets tough kind of trying to record videos, to be honest with you, with work and with the sun going down, and then editing different videos and this and that. It gets a little difficult. So I just wanted to record something I've been thinking about. I was on my way to work this morning, and I was remembering the days of like, I'm at 450, and we're getting ready to go for a ride. And last year was my first year I was ever riding. Now it's been 2 years. I remember getting on the bike and being like super nervous about things, or like even just starting out, like everything like that, and it made me think like, man, I don't get nervous when I ride like that anymore, you know? I don't get nervous like that anymore. It's very interesting to kind of reflect on where I've come from as a motorcyclist and how far I've come, to be honest. So I kind of want to make this video kind of like a top three, kind of like my top three things, I guess, or the three things, that's a better way to say it, the three things that you could tell when you're kind of upgrading from a beginner over to a novice, or you're starting to get out of like that beginner phase. You're starting to understand things a little bit more, or you're not so awkward on the motorcycle anymore, or it's just more comfortable for you. And that's what I want to talk about. So I guess it started all off is one of the first things I've noticed, like as I've gotten better with riding, or kind of stepping out of beginner territory more toward like novice, is the fact I don't get as nervous. You know, just kind of leading off what I was talking about to begin with. Thinking about it like this. So before, when I would ride, right, I would get really nervous before hopping on the motorcycle. Like I would be like, you know, I'd get like the bubble guts, or I'd get like something like, how do I say this? It feels like everything's a little more like intimidating. Like I'd be like, oh man, what if something happens here? What if it happens here? What if this is the time that something happens to me? And I would always think about that before I rode, and it's like I was so nervous about riding, but I was so excited at the same time. Like now, like I get, you know, there's still like a bit of nervousness, but it's not like, man, I'm so nervous something's gonna happen to me. It's more like, I'm nervous. Looking at this person.
Good evening.
See, that's the thing. It's not so much that you're nervous about like the worst thing's gonna happen to you. You're more so nervous in the fact of like, or like excited, like you're, oh man, I really want to ride, like I'm so excited to ride. Or like you know, you understand that you're gonna have to get on the road and watch out for the people. Like you're kind of like a heightened sense, as opposed to just like straight nerves, which is how it started for me. So once you kind of break away from the nerves, once you kind of get away from all that, how nerve-wracking everything can be, or like getting a little shaky, getting a little, you know, your stomach starts to bother you a little bit, or whatever. Like you just get nervous about it. Once you get past that, I think, to be honest with you, that's when I think that's kind of like the upgrade right there. Like that's when you start to go from beginner to more like a novice, because you're not so nervous about the actual thing anymore. Like you're understanding your motorcycle more. You're understanding like there are risks, but you put so many miles on that it doesn't like hold you back. It doesn't scare you anymore. Like you're more excited than scared. I guess that's the best way to say it. You're more excited than scared, or, you know, afraid is another good word for it too. So that's one of the first things. The second thing I want to mention too is your positioning. So when the way your body's positioned. So I've noticed, like I used to have such like my right hand would fall asleep. It would start to get like really numb all the time, and like I'd sit with my legs kind of out a little bit. I don't know if you can see it, but my legs would be kind of out a little bit. And it wasn't like the best. It wasn't the best position for me to be riding in. And as you get more comfortable, you start to understand you got to squeeze a tank. You know, you got to relax a little bit up here. Don't go like this. Don't stiff-hand it like that. Like I was 100% stiff-handing it. Like I was like gripping that thing like a death grip on my throttle. And that's not something you want to do either. You don't want to death grip your throttle, obviously. But there's other things like that you start to just slowly phase out. Talking about like foot position too, like your foot positioning. Like obviously, if you're braking, you want your right foot over the brake, right? And as you're upshifting, you're getting off from a stop, you know your foot's going to be near the shift lever. But understanding that is like not understanding, like from a beginner to a novice, is to not keep your feet there. Like, when I was riding on my 450, all the time I'd have my foot kind of hovering right over the rear brake. And I'll admit it 100%. I'm man enough to admit it. Like, my foot was right over that brake. Little did I know you could be dragging your rear brake. It's a bad thing to do. I'd have my feet, I'd be on my heels. I wouldn't be on the ball of my feet, because right now I'm right on the balls of my feet. I'm not braking anything right now. I'm not braking. I'm not accelerating. I'm kind of just in a good gear, or if I need to speed up a little bit, I can. You start to understand your positioning a little bit more, which is understanding the bike, right? But just the positioning of it all, like, my hand doesn't really fall asleep when I'm riding anymore. I understand my arms will be a little more relaxed. My back still hurts sometimes, but that's normal. That's a sport bike, you know. Your back hurts a little bit, but my wrists aren't killed. My hand isn't falling asleep. You know, my knees are killing me. Like, I'm hugging the tank. Like, you just start to, you almost become one with the machine, and that's why I love saying that. Like, you become one with the machine. Like, you just understand how everything works, and you understand the best position to be in. You know, for your ride when you need to be. And, you know, obviously being on the balls of your feet, that's a big one. You know, you don't want, you know, your foot by the, that's another thing too. You don't want your right foot over the brake, right? Because you could be dragging the brake and cause issues with your rear brake. But also, if your left foot where the gear shift is at, if your foot is hovering over that, like for me, like you hit a bump, you know, or like your foot's underneath. Like, let's say your foot's just hanging out and you're underneath the shift lever. When you hit a bump, so like it's happened to me before, where I hit a bump and as I'm kind of, my foot's stuck under there because this bike has a quick shifter, right? It shifted my gear up, and I was like, what the heck? And that was like when I first got the bike, I was a little nervous about it, but it never really happened on my 450 after I got a little more comfortable on it too. But as you start to upgrade, you know, your skill level, you become more aware of those type of things. Like, I don't want to have my foot by the shift lever because I can accidentally shift. I don't want to have my foot by my rear brake because I can accidentally be braking when I don't want to be. It's all these things that you start to understand as a more novice rider, or I guess like a journeyman of a rider, that hey, like, this is where my positioning should be, and you start figuring it out. Again, you become one with the machine. So, you know, again, hand placement too, like knowing where your hand should be, everything, all those small nuances like that, all those little things, like, can save your body so much, like, heartache, can save so much pain, that, man, like, it's just something else. So that leads me to, I guess, my final point here. My final point here, I guess I'll go a quick third thing here. Third thing is pretty obvious, to be honest with you. Third thing is any slow speed maneuver. So if you're good at slow speed maneuvers, that tells me that I know my clutch. That tells me that I know my throttle. That tells me that I know my brake. I know everything. That tells me I know everything. Hey, I rode with that guy one time. We rode over to Walkie Power Sports one time. But no, that tells me that I know the rear brake. So, Cybertruck too. Jeez, just everything over here. Yeah, it's a beautiful day over here in Wisconsin. Beautiful sunset too. But it's a slow speed maneuver thing. So kind of, you know, throw myself back here, getting a little distracted. It's just understanding like where you need to be at all times. Like understanding how your clutch works, how to get out of first. How to get out of first, right? You know, doing a U-turn. Yeah. Sorry guys, kind of had to take a little pit stop. All right, so now that we're moving, I want to talk more about this. I had to move. It's your slow speed maneuver. So your clutch control. You know, doing U-turn. So like again, let's say that scenario where you're out riding with your buddies and someone takes a wrong turn somewhere. You know, somebody takes a wrong turn somewhere, inevitably, right? And you're kind of sitting there like, all right, guys, like, you know, your buddies are turning around. They're doing the U-turns and stuff. You're honestly just kind of like, you're just like, hey, like, I'm good. Like, I'm going to go find a parking lot to turn around in. I'll catch up to you guys. It's like, all right, like, you know, that's okay, and it's fine and all, especially if you're beginning. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not exactly my point. Once you become more like a novice, someone's like, hey, we got to turn around, you're not having to, you know, extremely navigate where you have to go. or take different detours. Like you're able to ride with ride with the bros. You're able to ride around. You said you're able to take a U-turn just fine, and you're able to manage your clutch control. And once you manage all the slow stuff, that's when I think you really start to become a novice. It's not like we all know it. We've all talked about it. We all know clutch control is important. We know the friction zone is important. We know being comfortable on your bike's important. We know counterbalance. We know all that, right? We've been over that. But once you become comfortable with it, once it becomes something you don't have to freak out about or overthink or consciously think about, once it becomes something that you just do, like you go to a parking lot, you're not worried like, oh man, I gotta work on my clutch control now. Oh, I gotta work on my friction zone. You just do it. You don't overthink it at all. You just do it. That's when I think you kind of, that's train tracks. That's when I think you upgrade from beginner to novice. So just to kind of recap the three things, right? The first one being, your nervousness, your excitement level before you go for a ride. All that stuff. That's the first thing. That's once you kind of break away from the nervousness of a ride, and you're more excited than you are scared, you're more excited than you are afraid. That's one of the first things, going out. Because I remember I would get like cotton mouth. I'd get like super dry mouth just from how nervous I was. But I've gotten a lot better where I don't get that anymore. And that's that takes time. It takes miles. It takes learning. Second, obviously, being your positioning, understanding where your positioning is at. Like, where am I? Am I in the altitude spot? Is my foot hanging over that right brake, over the rear brake, or is it, am I on the balls of my feet? Are you able to maneuver around? Are you able to maneuver around on your bike and adjust things as needed? Third is the slow stuff. Like, hey, am I mastering everything that I need to master? Clutch control, knowing how to U-turn. Am I comfortable with it? Am I comfortable with it? Not, I know how to do it. I know it's a thing. And I gotta keep thinking about it. I'm always thinking about it. No, is it comfortable? Does it come second nature to you? That's what I'm talking about. Is when it becomes second nature to you. So that's just the three things, guys. I just wanted to recap with you guys. So hopefully this kind of helps. Like if you're in a beginner spot and you're kind of like, man, I don't know really kind of where to go from here, or I need some perspective. Like I've started in beginner shoes, and I think I'm a little bit more novice now, where it's like I can talk about this. I can openly say like, hey, these are the three things like I've noticed like myself. Like I'm not saying this by any means, guys, like to be perfect, but I'm saying this in regards to help you guys. Like I'm saying this in regards to I've been there before. Like this isn't just something that I made up and I've never been on a motorcycle before. Like this is something I've noticed myself, and I reflect on myself that I think is something that you guys can also reflect on yourselves too. Am I super nervous when I'm riding? Am I still super nervous before I go for a ride? Is it like, give me the bubble guts? Does it freak me out? Two, am I positioned correctly? Can I adjust my positioning as needed on the motorcycle? Are my wrists still killing me? Are my hands still killing me? Is my rear brake being, am I dragging my rear brake? Am I by my gear, my shift lever, and then am I worried about a bump shifting me up? Like, you think about that. So, three, am I good with slow speed maneuvers? And not just good with it, like, is it second nature to me? Not saying you're a pro, but is it second nature? Like, can you do it? You can do a U-turn. Obviously, you can't do those crazy ones, right? But like you're more comfortable with it. Like you are where you need to be, and where you need to be without thinking way too hard on it. So let's think about those three things, I guess. Let's think about those three things. This is a different kind of video. I know it's going to be kind of like a quicker video for me, but I just want to get this out. It's been something that's on my mind, and I kind of like I think about these things when I'm riding, and I don't know why I don't just record them, so that you guys can, I can share that knowledge. There's a whole point why I want to make this channel. It's like, why am I not recording this? So, just the three things, guys. So, if this was helpful to you, obviously, leave a like if you feel like it. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. If you want to see more like this, if you want to see more of my content, subscribe. If you want to see more, check out my channel. I have plenty of other videos. If you want to keep seeing more, subscribe. And if you want to let me know your thoughts, like, where did you start? When did you start to realize that you were coming more from the beginning rider to the novice rider? Or even reflect on the ones I talk. Like, share some funny stories. I'd like to hear them too. So, it's always good to hear from you guys. So anyways, I hope this video finds you well, guys. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.